starts early. It works hard. It stays focused. It keeps moving. It stands ready. And it carries the weight. Strong coffee for a strong nation.
Welcome, everybody, back to another Beyond the Possible. As James of Salsido Paranormal has returned to come hang out with me for another episode. Number, where are we even at now? Right, 23, 24, somewhere around that.
20, I don't know, 23? I don't feel like 24, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, 23. Yeah, 23.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
And you got
23.
your 100th episode of your TWC coming up.
Yeah, it's coming up Wednesday with a bunch of. I might put this wrong number. It might be. Let's see if I'm messing up here. You never know. Wouldn't be the first time. Yep. This is 24 actually. This is
Oh,
supposed
wow.
to be
Okay.
24. Whoopsie. Oh well.
Numbers are hard, just like
That's the
words.
worst thing that happens tonight. We'll be all right.
Yeah.
Oh me. Yeah, let me fix that real quick. I knew I was because I had set this up for last week and for this episode, and then David said he was going to be able to make it, so I had to back up and punt, and I forgot to. So I had it set up as number 23 because that's what it was last week. And it just
And that
happened.
was a great episode. I love that one.
Oh yeah, it was good. So I think we got her figured out now. Maybe,
Possibly.
possibly. But I appreciate y'all being here. We're gonna have another fun one. Of course, I'm sure we'll shoot for the 2 hour and see how it goes, and see if Mr. Strange has any issues tonight. If he does, we'll see how it goes. We'll pop in and pop in with him. Instead of him, we'll keep on going maybe if we need to, or we'll just see how it goes.
Oh, yeah.
What's up, Skunk Caller? Appreciate you being here. LJ, nice. Like I said, appreciate y'all being here. We trying to have a little fun, talk some different weird, unusual things maybe tonight. As I was telling them on the live feed last night, I was like, we try to, stay away from paranormal. I mean, politics and stuff, and balance things out because there's too much crazy stuff going on in the world right now. And here we go. I think I have shared it in all the places I need to share. If I didn't, oh well. It is what it is now. What's up, Matt Sal? Glad you are here. Uh, where does it say? Oh, okay. You are there.
So,
I am
anyway.
there.
Oops. Hello.
What's up?
Sorry about the headphones. I'm super casual, but I thought I'd jump in and say, "Hey,
Yeah, no, you're
Hello.
cool.
hey,
I was,
James."
I was sitting there dropping links and stuff, and then I was like, they changed Riverside a little bit, so it's a little different. I'm getting used to it, where stuff is and where it pops up.
Yeah.
Usually gives me notifications, gives me little sounds and stuff. I don't know, but how are you doing today?
I am good. I just myself just recorded 2 podcasts today, so I'm exhausted, but I had to
Nice.
join. What are you guys getting into right now? Talking what, like topic wise?
Auras. We're going to talk about some auras and what do you about is it possible, like kind of a little bit everywhere, kind of if it's possible to auras to kind of affect other people around you, or can it see you, and just a whole variety, I guess, of if? What do y'all
Yeah,
think?
I was just starting to say to lead into that. Um, it's just, I don't know. Some years ago now, I happened to be just sitting here looking at Logan, my cat, and she has a lot of white fur on her, but there was this one day where I could see white all around her for like a second or two, and it wasn't going everywhere. It wasn't really far from her, but it was like it was covering her and coming from her for just a couple seconds, and then it was gone. Uh,
Hmm.
and nothing was going on, that I could. I mean, nothing else was really going on at the time, but it was it was really odd because I've heard of auras with people, but I hadn't really ever heard of auras necessarily with cats. But then again, I also don't. I know there are people that can see auras just all the time,
Right.
and I'm not one of those people. So I don't know if I was just somehow picking up on that for a couple seconds with her, or if it was something else, not even really an aura that was just happening with. She was just giving off energy somehow. Makes me wonder now too, real quick, if she had maybe just, I don't know. I swear this cat can teleport at times because I've had it happen twice where I was looking at her and I turned around in my apartment here, which is a small apartment, and she was in front of me again. and, and there's no way she could have gotten in front of me without me hearing or seeing her go in front of me. Uh, so I don't know. I wonder if that's also if it's something different or something related to this topic. But anyway, that's what I was going to start with. I didn't know, didn't see or hear that we had someone join in. So, but yeah, that was it for now.
I agree with James on that. I definitely think one, I've heard that cats like to go into different dimensions, that they are interdimensional creatures and they kind of float in and out. So I've heard that. We have one cat in the house, and I don't know if she. I see weird things on our. We have a security camera in her room, and I always see weird orbs kind of around her a lot. It's not dust or anything crazy, kind of floating around her, little bubbles. But auras I've never seen, but I've had friends 'cause I can feel energy. Someone like you just see them, you just feel like they're off. Like,
Mm,
yeah,
yeah.
but then I'll have someone go like, I can see their energy. I've never been able to see it, so kudos to people that can. But if I can feel it,
Yeah, I've seen, I've heard of so many people doing that, and I've seen, um, I've been to Ricky Healers and stuff like that, and I remember I went to one there, and she was like, oh, was talking about my light and everything was around me and stuff like that, and I was like, okay, I didn't know what to think. I was really like, all right, cool, but I've had so many people like that, hear talk about that, but like I say, I know some people can see it, some people can't. Um, and then on the other side, I guess you can be even with a good light. You can like if you're very protective. I heard like spiky aura where you're being very defensive, so people can sense that you're on edge or you're protecting yourself and kind of thing. But I do believe especially with animals and kids and stuff like that. You can see that they pick up on people's you know, kind of aura or essence, like, hey, this is a cool person, this is a good person for the most part, and then, or not a good person, like, hey, they're do not like them whatsoever, makes them get away, and then you find out later, there's a good reason for it, sometimes.
right?
So I do believe that, there are uh, the possibilities for sure. I
So I don't know if
see
you guys touched upon it. What do you guys think that auras are, though?
we hadn't got on anything. Yeah, we just starting, so we're right here on the beginning. Matt Sal said everything alive has an aura. So um, I think we you always hear like you hear old talkings and like like especially like with Chinese, you have you have your chi, you have and have that energy inside of you, and so that we all have and there's some that you'll put it. I guess their aura, be with it, tied together with like their soul. I think because you just have that presence, that energy about you that you can turn around and and project. Like some people, you can somebody can walk into a room and turn around and go, just the whole vibe and energy just fall out, just poof. And other people can walk in the room and like the energy explodes. It goes to 100 and just whoop, just because, and they don't really do anything. It's just that energy. It was as they walk in, they bring it. They bring such a power, and so
I mean, to Matt Owl's point, there's like having auras and everything. I've been around like objects, books, things like that, where I feel like there's energy coming off of it, or an aura. Um, I think everything that we touch and everything's kind of connected in the universe if you think of it that way. But I mean, I've had books that I grab and I'm like, oh shit, like I probably shouldn't be reading this just by grabbing it with the energy off of it.
Yeah, I think they do, and I think if you don't pick up on that, but then you bring something like that home, like one of my favorite examples of that is my my dad is a he paints buildings, interior, exterior, and he was at this house once that they were going to get rid of a bunch of the stuff that was there, and he found this old cookbook, and
Oh,
he thought it
nice.
was interesting, and so he brought it back to his house, his and my stepmom's house, and as soon as he did that, because he's not sensitive to this stuff at all, they started hearing footsteps like more than they usually would. They already have minor activity in the house, but it picked up, and my stepmom, who was somewhat sensitive to all this stuff herself, was trying to figure out because she didn't know that he had brought this book in the house, and she was trying to figure out what was going on and why things had increased, and she happened to find this book, and she could just tell, it was coming from this book. It was there was some energy or consciousness, whatever, both. I'm not sure, but it was attached to it, and she got rid of it, and everything calmed back down again. And so, yeah, he kind of. I think I haven't heard for sure, but I'm pretty sure he was told after that. Don't be bringing stuff back into the house if you don't know where it's from. So, but
Excuse my
yeah,
ignorance on this, but like when you bring stuff into the house, people always talk about bringing, like going to, garage sales, thrift shopping, and they're bringing stuff into the house and they just sage it. So I've used sage before in my house when I was having some kind of paranormal activity. But does anybody in the chat or you guys know what exactly about sage wipes everything off of everything?
yeah, I'm not sure. I've heard that a lot of it can. I've heard different competing ideas. I mean, I've heard, of course, that it is a tool, but you have to have the intention of wanting to clear everything out of there. Otherwise, it's not going to work. But then I've heard people that have had that intention and things haven't worked, and then the idea is, well, there's that energy there is just too strong, or so there's all these variables. But yeah, I don't know what it is exactly about it, other than just that it's from nature, I guess, is part of it. Uh, Same with like salt and things like that. Uh, but again, I think it has to be combined with the belief and the intention, and which sounds simple, but it may not always be that simple either.
Right. Thanks, James. I appreciate that because now I got a little more insight because I wasn't quite sure.
I'll say Matt Sal says it raises the vibration, and nothing lower can stay in the space. So with the higher vibration, it makes the lower vibration leave, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Mm. Yep, that makes sense too.
And Sweet says physically, sage smoke has, if I can talk today, antimicrobial properties that can purify the air by killing up to 94% of airborne bacteria, viruses, and fungi.
Thank you, Sweets. Hey, Sweets. She's always
Cool.
like on the spot, Charlie, over there. She's awesome.
And then I see Matt's all talking about psychometry, and that's where you can touch an item and feel, you know, other things going on or uh, history of the item sometimes.
Right. And I think feeling is just as valid as because I mean either way, I think you're whether you're seeing an aura or not. If you're feeling it, then it's still sensing. You're still sensing what's there, what's attached to it. Maybe just in different ways. It's showing itself in a different way. It's either showing itself visually or again through vibrations, um, all that kind of those things. It's all energy or frequency in different ways. It's just a matter of some people pick up on that in different ways as well.
Yeah, I know me personally. I've gone to some of these antique stores, and I kind of felt it. You get around certain items, it's like, nope, I'm not dealing with that. I'm gonna walk away. And or just something like turn around and say, hey, and it makes you turn and look at it, and it's like, nope, I don't need that at home. Let me get away. I truly felt that way about certain items and stuff.
Yeah, funny. So I had at one point in my show a few years ago, I had a guest on. For some of you will know APOC from
Yeah.
over in Trouble Minds. We were going to. We had plans to uh, find like three interesting stories from online and share them, and we one after the other, and orbs came up in the discussion and then auras and all that, and that show for whatever reason the recording software I was using did not work, and that show never got recorded. And later that same night, over on Trouble Minds, he did a show about orbs.
Oh wow.
And when he's doing his show and I'm doing my show, 99% of the time, we don't get to tell each other what we're doing because we're just busy setting things up, you know. And the way Michael Strange does it, it's amazing. He doesn't always know what he's going to do until it's right the night of. And so and then so orbs came up in that show as well, and it's just really an odd night of synchronicities as well as the whole orbs and all and auras and all that. Those topics came up, and there's no way anyone, if they were in my stream at the time, they wouldn't have known that was a thing that had happened in my stream because it didn't get recorded. Not only that, I never release shows like immediately after I record them. It's always like the next day at the earliest. So yeah, it's synchronicities are another amazing sort of thing that they happen with all these things as well.
Yes, I know. I think that's one of the things I got coming up in a week and a half. I think Derek's going to come on and talk about
Nice.
synchronicities. Yeah, so on a week from Wednesday, so that'd be good. And just that, it is amazing how sometimes you're sitting there talking with people or whatever, like you said, or we done it um, on here and turn around and and then Trouble Minds is talking about the same thing we just talked about.
Yeah,
Even we've even done that before. So it's funny how that sometimes there's certain things that it likes it wants to be talked about at that moment. So it puts out this it feelers and say, hey, talk about me today, buddy. And everybody's talking about it, kind of.
I may have to join you for that one with Derek too, because I'd love to talk with him more.
Yeah. That'd be cool. Like I said, that'd be a week from Wednesday.
Yeah,
I love the way his brain works. I think he was it sucked because on my show I only do an hour, like a solid 60, and then cut him loose. But just to listen to him talk, he's brilliant. And he's a
he
really fun
is.
guest.
Yeah, that's
He's
what I've been wanting to get him
amazing.
on, and I talked to him, and I'm like, so we're gonna do a Wednesday night. He's off, I think. He's off that night, and I got no limit on time, so we can go 4 hours if he wants to go, or whatever we can swing. So it should be that's my curiosity's been. I want to unhook the chains on Derek and see what we can do because
Yes.
he's always like calling and doing call-in shows where he has like 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes to talk, and he's rushing and trying to throw as much information on at one time. Um, and I've been wanting to do this for a long time where I just like, here, you got 3 hours if you want. You got 4 hours you want. Well, I'm here for the duration. Whatever, let her rip and see what happens. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be magical. Really is.
Yeah, and I bet you he'll still pack it just as much as he would that 20-minute, 10-minute call.
I
And
imagine at
that's
first he's
not.
going to be like wide open, just da da da. And that maybe he'll relax a little bit as the night goes on, or maybe he'll just keep that energy the whole time. It's the part of curiosity. I mean, I'm like, well,
Yeah,
can he do that for 3 hours straight? Let's see. If he can, let her rip. I'll just step out of the way and
same.
mute my mic if I have to. Let her rip, Derek. You just go, and I'll hush up. And so, yeah, it should be a fun one next week. Absolutely.
Speaking of orbs and energy and everything else, I was today years old, and I'm sure everyone on the show that's in the chat's going to laugh at me, that I did not realize that church bells were put up in the church to ward off demons.
Hmm.
Did anyone else know that, or did I fall upon this? Am I
And that,
late to
No,
the game?
I didn't know that either.
yeah,
Uh,
I heard that a long time ago, and they think that's one of the reasons why they were taking bells down. During like World War I and stuff. And I seen where it was. Where was it at? It was one of the countries in Europe. I forget, but maybe Poland, and they were digging and they found a bell where somebody buried it because they were trying to protect it.
Hmm.
Of course, there's the frequencies and they're talking. There's a lot of people talk about, which I don't know for sure or if it's true or not. Whatever is interesting. Talking about how the bells and the sound and the frequency house actually helps heal people and
Yeah.
and so maybe the one another reason why they were trying to do away with them. Other than just like, well, we need steel, so we're gonna melt bells. Like it, nah,
That makes
I don't
sense.
know. Yeah, you know,
well, that's
sounds more for
amazing.
nefarious things.
Yeah, that's amazing because I've found accounts here and there of people um, in areas where there are no large buildings, uh, and there's no bells that they know of anywhere, and they'll hear the sound of church bells
Wow.
at night and things like that, where there's just no way there'd be anything happening. And I mean, this is not just like a ringtone or this is like full on actual full sound of bells. I've heard of that before. So that's fascinating. I mean, it's again, it's literally vibrations. It's literally sound that would be pushing out. I mean, possibly whatever is right there. I mean, I know I can't be near any kind of place that has bells like that for too long. 'Cause it just kills my ears. So yeah, that's amazing though.
It's neat seeing some of those church. Some of there's a few here and there, but there's some churches still have the bells up, or they put the bells back up,
My
and
church does. My church
yeah,
still has one when I leave. It goes off when we're leaving mass.
yeah, like at noon, and like a lot of places it'll pop, ring at noon and stuff like that. So it's neat, to see some of them still working and still. But just to think about like how many bells was back in the day before all that they decided we need to take them down. Um, even over here they took them down. It's like I forget what the reason though. Over in the United States, it was. I know in Europe and stuff, some of the countries are because of war, but I don't remember why the United States was.
Well, if you put your tinfoil hat on really tight, you just pull it down. My thinking would go straight to big pharma, because if sound, they're saying now that sound helps heal people, and if the bells, ward off demons, they helps people with their insides heal, emotionally heal. Why would you want that around if you want people dependent on drugs?
Yeah, yeah.
That's just my crazy thought.
No,
Hmm.
it's not that crazy. It's weird thing with the bells and churches and all that. There's this one little street in my town, and on one side of it is this church, and the other side is this little library, which has a haunted basement.
Nice.
Just always used to get weird vibes from that basement, even as a kid before I ever like looked into any of this stuff. And I had a dream once about, I think it must have been an out of body experience about just finding myself in the middle of that street, and feeling like something happened there, and I'd have to. I never could figure out how exactly to look into it easily because it's just a tiny. It's not like a main road anyone would know about. It's just one little tiny street in the town where I live. But that area for me is always I've always had gotten weird vibes from it. Not bad, but just like it's old. Like you can feel time is different there, or you can feel the past is like really still there. There's one other alley in my town that's like that too. So, and it is right next to this huge church that has a bell tower in it. So,
Oh. Well, like Einstein's relativity of time, past, present, future is happening at the same time. They're now saying there's a lot of scientists now too that believe in reincarnation are saying that
mm,
when you reincarnate, you just don't reincarnate to the future. You can reincarnate back to the past because of
yes,
this,
yeah,
which is wild. Like you'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna reincarnate back to like the caveman days. I'm just gonna go for it.
and it's thinking of that too. I mean, does can that explain some experiences people have where they feel like they are living they go to sleep and they feel like they're living other lives?
Yes.
Are they picking up on future incarnations of themselves? Because I mean, I do think that there's a whole multiverse where people have,
Hmm.
and I've had many experiences of falling asleep and then being in some other version of this reality. But there's one I had years ago where I was in a town I didn't recognize and walking to my apartment, but I did not have my cane, my white cane. And I didn't notice any difference in how things looked, but I literally felt like I did not need my cane there.
Oh,
It was almost
nice.
as if I was able to walk around and like I wasn't afraid of any obstacles. It was like I could see, but I couldn't see myself, but this version of me maybe could see. And I walked into this apartment building, and apparently it was my home. And I walked in the apartment, and then everything faded. But I wonder, is that some other version of me, not in a multiverse, but in this one, in some other place? Because it doesn't make sense for me to move. I'd have to have family, all kinds of family, help me with all that. To move to a completely different town, and any town really, even in this town. So, and again, I would have my cane. I would not be walking down any city street, even ones I know, without my cane in this life. That's not gonna happen. So, yeah, I think that the reincarnation thing can happen, and who knows how many incarnations of the same person can exist around the same time if one is born at point A, or let's say point B, and then they pass away, reincarnate to a point earlier than that, point A, let's say, which could possibly overlap into the life of, so it gets really complicated there. Like how many versions of of a person of a soul, let's say, just to keep it simple there as we can, could exist in the same time frames,
They were saying infinite
overlapping.
is
Yeah.
what I've heard. I got a
Mhm.
question though. If you guys could go reincarnate to the past, first, Ricky, where would you go? Where would you go back to?
Maybe I don't know if I want to live in it, but like like a lot of the places I would like to visit. I would love to see I love to go. I would want to go back and see you know see if we were right about the pyramids and stuff. That's where I would want to
Hmm.
go, like Egypt, and go and see where the we'll go back to the 5,000 years and see like was this where at the time frame they say, and then go back and go, huh, they're wrong,
Yep.
or or they're right. Hey, look at this. This is what they're doing. I mean, that'd be interesting to see something like that. I I did there. I was thinking on while y'all were talking about it was the theory of like everything's happening at the same time. Your
Hmm.
future, past, and present, everything is happening at the same time. So that might be part of it too. Everything is happening, so you can. That's why you can go back and because it's all at the same time, which is mind-boggling to me. But yeah, but it's I guess it's possible. And that's why you can go back in time and in different mindsets or different places. I know like, we've talked about it on here before and stuff, and I've done the same thing. James has gone all kinds of different places, and my the one I tell all the time is like the one where I lay down, went to sleep, and I woke up here this instant, just pop, and came here and was like absolutely blew my mind, and makes you wonder, like or is it just the veils of the multiverse, like just getting so thin that we can
Yeah.
actually see we're connecting with the other spots, and I know Merlin was saying that when he was on the last time he was on the show that we're talking about like infinite possibilities. Like everything we do causes a different timeline go off.
Right.
Everything we do, um, and I've wondered that. I've always thought that like because like we've all had like major stuff that happened in our life. Okay, hey, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna like for me, I could have stayed on Guam and stayed. Now my life would be totally different. Or if I'd stayed doing this one job, my life would have been totally,
Hmm.
I wouldn't have met the same people. Maybe, who knows? Anything's possible. But
Hmm.
it would have took a complete roundabout spot for me to get back to where I am. So, and that you know, makes me wonder, like if you are, every time you had, I think at least imagine it'd be every major thing, but if even minor things that throws off a different span, that'd be astronomical. Just I
Yeah.
mean, it would be infinite. Every little possibility. I decided to go left out the driveway instead of right. Oh, a whole new timeline of me going that way and seeing what's that way. That's uh, mind blowing. If you really deep sit there deep thinking.
What about you, James? Where would you go back in time?
Well, if I, yeah, Egypt would be a major one, but I also would be curious about the pyramids over in China
Oh,
as
there you go.
well.
Hmm.
Um, but no, the whole waking up, basically falling asleep in that dream alternate parallel universe realm, waking up here. I had one time where I felt like I was stuck in one of those alternate parallel universe places, and I tried to fall asleep, and it took like 3 times before I was able to fall asleep and wake up here again.
Oh,
And
wow.
that's why I don't ever try to have these experiences because I don't want to be stuck anywhere else where I don't know what's going on. Um, as rough as things can be here, I don't want to have to relearn what is going on in the world and in my own life in some other version of reality, where I'm still in this house with my mom, a version of my mom, and my former stepdad, and kids that they have there, but they never had here,
Okay.
because that's happened in those experiences before. So yeah, it's funny because I get that question, in different shows I go on, and I talk about these experiences, and people are always asking me that, well, that's amazing, don't you? So have you tried having these experiences more? I'm I'm always just I always say no, I don't want to. I don't need any more than what I already get, and because these things still happen here and there. I still have these. I still go to these other versions of reality here and there when I sleep.
If I could go back, I would go back to the day the flood came down when apparently the big flood happened with Noah's Ark. Because I want to see if all these mountains that we see are actually just the fallen giants that were killed. Because, like, there's in Hawaii, like Kona, if you look at the island, it looks like a woman that fell asleep, and
Oh wow,
they have their goddess Pele over there, and they always talk about they
yeah,
created the island, and if you take a piece of the lava from the island, you're cursed. And
yep.
just for me, it'd be interesting to see if hey, and they show these crazy mountains that look like some lady parts that have fossilized over, and there if you cut into the rock, it's red like muscle tissue. So I would love to like to live during that time and see if whatever we think is fossilized mountains is all these fallen angels that came down.
Well, and people send back those rocks when they have that bad
Yeah, I've
luck.
heard that. Yeah.
And they send letters with them like, "Hey, I'm sorry. I didn't know." And yeah, I've heard that before, which is just fascinating. Because I mean, are they again going back to that? Is it because they're taking parts of a body,
Yep.
like you're describing there, and there's some energy within those parts still that does not want to be separated from the rest of the energy that may be there in, because I mean, obviously you're not going to be able to physically put those parts back together, but if it's energy in there, then it doesn't need to be.
I mean, on top of that, they also like Hawaii have the night marchers. Have you guys heard of that?
Yeah, yeah. I don't. I'm not familiar with the details, but I have heard of that, and people still see them, and
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure on that one. I know they get the little people over there. I forget what they're called in Hawaii, but
Night marchers, the one since they had all the big wars over there when they were people were trying to come over and dominate and take over the territory for Hawaii. So my
mhm.
sister lives like right next to a burial ground. So we would go there at night because we're fucking stupid. Like at midnight and go try to like conjure up. And I remember like all the old timers there like don't mess with the night marchers. So night marchers are basically all the warriors. But they're supposed to be really dangerous. When they walk through, you're not supposed to make eye contact. They said that people that do like lose their minds or catatonic for months on end.
Or get
And
stuck marching with them, I
oh,
believe.
jeez, that's scary.
That's no fun. No
Not
fun
at
at
all.
all.
Sorry, I kind of detoured like we were talking about it. Just thought that was interesting. Hawaii's a fascinating spot.
It is. I like to go back one day. I haven't been there since I was a little kid, so it'd be good to be able to see it as an adult. But yeah, I was telling James, speaking of graveyards and stuff, I had a crazy crazy experience. My mom, we went to a homecoming the couple Sundays ago, I think it was, and we had went there to go like to eat with this church, and then kind of clean up the burial, cemetery, and clean up my grandparents' tombstones and my great grandma's tombstones, and clean everything up and everything. Well, we got there, they had already cut the grass and weed eat and everything, so it looked good. But we forgot to take care of the tombstones. And my mom sent me a picture and she was like upset, like, hey, look, I forgot. And I said, well, I'll get it. I'll take care of it. So I took care of it yesterday. And I said, well, I'm gonna freak myself out today. Let me do something I would never do. I set up my GoPro behind me on a bucket. I had a little clamp, and I set on my GoPro up, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna sit here. Whatever happens, happens. And I showed James just a second ago. I got a minute, and it had a full battery. And I had maybe a minute and a half video, and that's it. And it killed my battery,
Oh
leveled it.
no. Have you seen the guy on YouTube that brings a spirit box because he's a headstone
Mm.
cleaner at a cemetery, and he'll be cleaning someone's headstone. He'll start talking to that person, and they respond back on the spirit box.
Yeah, I'm
Hmm.
not doing that. Well, I told James, no, I'm not
You
bringing a spirit
should.
box with me. I'm not bringing a spirit box with me. There's no way. I would have ran through that fence if I. Uh, I was already freaking out as enough as it was. I'm like, well, like I said, I want to record it, and then later on I can come back to it or whatever, and like I said, I'll be freaked out, but I won't be at that moment hearing stuff. Maybe who knows, but I hate that it died though because I had a pretty cool. I thought it was kind of cool. I walked around the whole graveyard because some of them go all the way back to the 1700s. Like there's a bunch
Nice.
of it's sad. There's a bunch of children graves and stuff like that. And I walked around, talked about the graves and like who's my family and stuff like that. And no clue that the thing had died on me because, like I said, it was full battery. So I was like, huh. So I walked around this whole graveyard recording, and it was dead. Which I would use that same GoPro and the same, and walked around. I walked around Shiloh, the whole place. I walked around there, huge cemetery they got over there, no problem. And this is a little
Wow.
bitty, like I said, this thing couldn't get more than a minute and a half of recording, and then poop,
They wanted
done.
you out of there, buddy. That was it.
I,
Gone.
I guess like, nope, you don't need to know what's going on here, Ricky. Uh, you do not need to know. Let me zap this. I'm like, oh, no more of this. No more trying to scare myself. But I thought
That's
it'd be kind of cool video if it turned out, cool, and just at least I was like, well, if I didn't catch nothing, let me have the walk around and stuff. That'd make a cool little small video or something to throw up, and people might be interested in it or something. But
I feel
yeah,
like I need to spend the $50 and send you a spirit box and get your ass out there and go because I can't. Here in California, like they have fucking movies, you guys, at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. So you're literally watching a movie outside on a big screen, sitting on headstones. And I'm like, well, I could never. That's so like desecrating a cemetery, and there's no place here to actually go and kind of test the whole. Am I getting any spirit activity? So I would love for you to do it for the rest of us out here, Ricky. Come on,
and
you do jujitsu. You're a tough guy. You can do
yeah, I
this.
can fight people. I can't fight spirits. I've always said that. I was like, I don't fight anybody. I ain't scared of. I had a guy we were talking about want me to do in like a grappling match in the cage, which I'm gonna do in July and stuff. So it's gonna be fun. But and he's one of the other coaches and stuff. He's like, "Oh, you want this smoke?" I was like, I don't give a shit. I ain't scared." I said, "I'll grab Greg Hardy right here with big old 6'5", 340 pound. I'll wrestle with him. I don't care. You know, it is what it is. I don't
Are
think
we
I'm beating
starting? I think
everybody.
we should start like a truth or dare for all the trouble minds personalities. Everybody's got to get someone to do some shit on camera.
What
No,
are you
but
gonna do, James? What we got? We're gonna have to get you to do.
uh, I don't even know. Yeah, eh, I don't even want to think about what I have to do. But no, I was just gonna say, I wouldn't bother sending that spirit box to Ricky there, Ricky, because he's not gonna do it. He's not gonna do it.
Peer
No,
pressure's a
she'll bug
bitch,
me
though,
every day.
James.
Like, have you done it today? Have you done it? I would have to do it just to get her to get quiet about it. Like,
There we go.
all right, I'm doing
No,
it. I'm right now here. I'll show her a video of me using it or something. Like, all right, I'm doing it.
Typical woman, just harass the shit out of you till you do it.
That's it. That's the only way you can get me to do anything. I think
but no, that
anybody.
cemetery, the movies at the cemetery, I wouldn't want to do that. I would not want to. I guess maybe that might be one of the things you have to get me. Like I'd have to. I mean, first you have to get me there because I'm not anywhere near
Yeah.
there. But um, no, what I was gonna say though is they have now they hold paranormal conventions in some cases in asylums.
Jesus.
Um, and I do not. I don't. I don't like that. I saw it, and I know this because I saw an ad for it on Facebook. And I'm not going to say the place because I don't want to point fingers directly at a place. Because I don't, who knows who said okay and all these legal factors, whatever. But I don't like that idea of holding, because if there's anyone there, then you're bringing in who knows how many people to set up the thing, to run the thing, and then all the people that go there to be part of it. That's not just your small paranormal investigation group of 2 or 3 people or 5 people or whatever going to check out a place. That's possibly 100 people or more. Probably by the time you get all done setting everything up, and even if you have minimal guests, speakers and all that, and I don't like that. I saw that and I just thought, oh no, no. I don't care if I ever get super famous in the paranormal world. I don't ever want to be. I don't. I have to say no. And if anyone asked me to go to an event like that is being held in a place like that was not designed for that, because I don't think it's right in a way.
Yeah. Speaking of cemeteries, there have you guys heard the conspiracy theory? Because so many people die every single day. How are we not running out of space in cemeteries?
There's a lot of
Hmm.
land we got.
Yeah, but
I
we're
mean,
out here. At least we're spending most of it for condos and then charging people, $4 or $5 million for a one-bedroom condo.
yeah, I say the video from an apartment from New York, and it was so crazy. And the lady had a dog in there. I'm like, how? I mean, poor dog just gonna walk around in a circle. That's it. That's all the
Yep.
room, and like a little stairs for like the bed. It was like my building I have here that I'm doing the podcast in would be monster building for them. They just wouldn't know what to do with all the space. Really, it's insane for.
A
Um,
studio apartment here in California in a shitty neighborhood, a studio is going for $3,000 a month.
Well, I think
Mm.
part of the answer to your question there, Rick, is something that's been going on for years now, here and there, which is that some people do not care if there's burial grounds. They just build anyway.
Ugh, didn't they see the movie Poltergeist? Don't they know what happens if you do that?
Well, they don't care because they're not the ones that live there.
All
Oh,
right.
fair
So they
enough.
they don't they don't people that don't. I mean, I'm sure not all developers do this. I'm just saying a lot. You hear about
Mm.
that all the time. Well, we moved into this place and started renovating it or we're gonna add a something to the property and or this apartment complex had to stop because they found it was built on graveyard of some kind
A
or
lot of
burial
times they're
site.
covered up though when they do find
Yeah,
it. They're like,
Yeah,
group, and they'll call their boss like, you better not tell anybody, or you were fired, and they'll just
yep,
cover it up and then keep on rocking it, and they'll find all kinds of artifacts and who knows what, and that's sad, that they. But of course, it'll cost them millions of dollars, um, but that's insane, you know. But like you said, they covered. They've been doing it a long, long time. This building stuff on places they shouldn't, or
yeah.
and
And then people wonder why there's activity there because they don't know because they didn't. They're not the ones that built the place, And
hmm
speaking of orbs and all that, because I do think orbs and auras can be, I mean, it's all energy, and so who knows if orbs are you know basically the aura of a person collected into one small circle or sphere after they pass. I mean, for all we know, that could be how it works in some cases. Not that I mean, I think that there's all kinds of things that orbs are because of all the places that they're seen. Out
yeah,
in space, up in the sky, out in nature and forests, in buildings, coming into or going out of the ground. I don't think that orbs are all one thing, but I think in some cases they could be possibly connected to people. And I mean, there's if you look
yeah,
into enough paranormal investigations, people catch orbs uh, going into people and coming out of them. And so often they'll report, wow, I feel weird all of a sudden, and sometimes it's just a weird feeling, other times it's a negative thing. They feel drained. So, and I mean, it's negative in that they got drained, but it may not have been an intentional thing. We just don't know how all this works.
right. I mean,
no, we
anything
had
with orbs and light and like energy, it's fascinating because scientists keep telling
Hmm.
us one thing and it keeps changing. I mean, you also think like an aura can be like your little light box that kind of keeps your soul stuck inside of your body, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this is around, this is what you're going through. But I know a lot of people too that have looked at auras and be able to tell somebody's sick and what they're
Hmm.
sick from looking at their aura. Like, oh, that person
Or
has a cold
yeah,
or they had heartbreak. Sorry, James.
or yeah, no problem. Or if they're the worst case scenario, if they're dying, they'll see like
Yeah,
black. I
yeah.
believe I've heard that too. Um, Either in their aura, or some people will see like their face will be blacked out.
Oh, that's crazy. That's creepy as shit.
Yeah.
yeah, like and the other side, and they see um, like a spiky aura where they're, with their, I've heard like I said with the real defensive or something's going on where they just they're on the edge or whatever, and not even intentionally, you can
Yeah.
see they'll see that spiky aura like putting back or possibly even trying to hurt somebody like, hey, get away from me, it's such a defense.
Well, and that's weird because you could do. I've found accounts of orbs that they're light. Their circles are light, but they have bumps or spikes
Ugh.
or tendrils coming from them. Uh, Even shadows or orb-shaped shadows that have those things as well. So yeah, there's just all kinds of weirdness out there, which is just I love, but also yeah, I don't know. You know, it's fine if it stays out there.
And guys, I suck right now. My husband is texting me. I have to make dinner because I'm an old school wife. But I'm going to keep listening. But I have to jump. I told Ricky I was going to stay on long as possible I can. I'm having a ball. So I'm gonna keep listening, jumping in the chat, but I have to jump.
No
No problem.
problem. And if you can come back Wednesday, we should have Wednesday going to be the 100th show on. And if you can pop in at any time, we're going to have a bunch of guests and some fun ones that's never been on the show before. Hopefully,
Send me the link, darling. I'll have to do it from my car because I'm in media, so I'll be
yeah,
leaving a little on the later side. But I will call you guys from the car. I can't wait to listen in. And
sounds good.
congratulations.
Appreciate it.
All right,
Appreciate you
guys.
popping in. Take care.
Later. Bye.
Bye. Cook that dinner.
That was nice to hear from Ricky. I enjoyed being on her show when I was on there a while back.
No, it's always great to hear from her, and you know, and she didn't do no politics on you, James. You see that? She did
Yeah,
better that time.
that was amazing. Uh, no, and I hope everybody knows I don't have anything against the topics in general or people being interested in them. It's just not my thing. So, but yeah, no, that was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. But we're still going. We're not going nowhere for anybody. Don't like James when Jamie leaves. You know, his always leaves one or two. Like, oh, okay, it's over with. Jamie's leaving. And somebody might be waiting just want to listen to Jamie talk. Hell, you never know. But uh, yeah, I seen. Speaking of orbs with tentacles and stuff, I seen a video the other day. I'm not sure if it was real or not. I've seen several, but it popped up on my feed on one of the platforms. I don't know, but it was some ball lightning. Was a
Mm,
rare occurrence. Actually, recording ball lightning, and which is weird as hell looking.
yeah, yeah,
And which is one of the things a lot of people try to. Oh, it's just ball lightning. I'm just here,
yeah,
nothing to worry about, nothing to no big deal. And like you said, I think that a lot of them, there's so many different things it could be, and it's probably all at the same time. It's just different energies showing that
yeah,
has energy. It would be sometimes it's like we've talked about before. It's all the above. Sometimes it is paranormal energy appearing and coming across. Other times it's you know especially if you're outside, it could be a natural occurrence like some ball lightning or something like that. Or then it could be so many you know, extraterrestrial or
yeah.
like cross the form. It could be any of it.
Well, in ball lightning, from what I've read and heard, it doesn't usually like it will appear and then eventually it'll just sort of fizzle out. Like it'll ground to literally like go into the ground at some point, and then it'll be gone. And it doesn't. It usually like once it goes in a certain direction, it goes until it in that direction until it's till it disperses. And but then you have orbs that seem to be intelligent. You have these lights that seem to be moving in multiple directions or towards people if people are noticing them, or towards each other, or it's like, okay, that does not seem like ball lightning to me. I'm sorry. I yes, ball lightning I'm sure exists, but you know come on, that doesn't seem like that's just there seems to be intelligence there of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I bet that's what you were picking up on that one time you saw hundreds of them in that cemetery. Like, even if you didn't feel it, I bet that's part of what was so freaky is like, oh, you know, I'm not alone here.
Oh, absolutely. That was like I said that day in the National Cemetery with all them orbs flying around. That one of the most amazing situations I've ever seen in my life. It's in the top five for sure, and it absolutely it cut my car off just like like I said it was like a movie scene. It was everything they talk about like in the movies or TV shows. It happened like the car cut off, wooden crank. All of a sudden, all this paranormal activity started flying around, and I'm like, it's time to go. Let's go. Let's go. And finally, she cranked up and car cranked up, and I spun it around and got out of there. And, but in a way, it's um, kind of cool that I get to witness that. And looking back at it now, of course, at the moment I was freaked out of my mind. But it's kind of
Freaked
cool now.
out?
Just
Why would you be
what?
freaked out with that? I mean, I don't get that, Ricky. No, I'm kidding.
It's the hundreds part. It was the freaky out part. Like, if you just seen one, you can go, man, that's a bug. That's something. You can overlook it. Even a couple. But when it was like looking like a swarm of lightning bugs, but bigger and not blinking, it just flying across there. I'm like, oh, that's no, I'm good.
It's fine, Ricky.
Yeah,
Everything was fine, I'm sure.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, no, and you do hear about them coming into or going out of electronics as well. In some cases, which is fascinating to me. And sometimes the electronics malfunction when they do that. Other times they don't. Other times they're not even on, and they just seem to appear. I found accounts of that before too. Um, and there's a video that I saw one time. A friend of the show, Rohan, uh, good friend that is in that other realm now, shared a video with me once of this what appeared to be like ball lightning almost, but it was moving through the air and not falling and not dispersing, but it ended up going into a TV that was on a wall, and it just fried the TV, and and then it was gone. But the TV was just like smoking from this thing hitting it.
Aw.
So, and I mean, who knows? It's a video, so, but I've heard of similar accounts, so it could have been real too.
Mm-hmm. And and the bad thing is, like, especially if it's a newer video. It's man, it's so hard to even believe any of them now. Like, what
Yeah.
if you see some old footage, taken with a potato, you kind of lean on it, and
Well,
and,
and
like,
and
man,
that's
it'd be
why.
cool, because
Yeah.
because now I mean, of course, they had a little bit of editing, stuff, but nothing like they have now. And so, but of course now we have, all these crazy AI videos. They're just popping up everywhere, and and just and I wonder sometimes not to, just is that why there's so much. There's another reason, just to flood the market with BS to kind of cover for the real stuff that's really out there. I wonder.
And that's why I pay so much attention to people's descriptions of their experience, so more than any kind of evidence that you're gonna find online. You know, I get that you saw something. That's great that you have a record of it for yourself if you have that. But I want to hear or read, what you experienced, what you were feeling, um, as many
Mhm.
details as you can remember about the experience. Because that's the stuff that you know you can sort of file away and may mean more than whatever it is you saw or heard. Is how it made you feel, what was going on, you know, synchronicities that may have happened with that, or um, the ways that it connected to other parts of your life or a deceased loved one. These details that you don't need a video for that. You need to actually either talk to the person or you need to get a detailed account from the person about the experience, or as detailed as you can get with like a post that you find online anyway.
Mhm.
So, and that's why I love collecting those, because doing that, that's where you find the patterns of things, and you can start to find new patterns that you were not aware of before. And but yeah, that's part of the fun of doing this show for me that I do.
Yeah, it's kind of like I almost lost my thought there for a second. I kind of slipped. I stumbled there, but like David was talking about, it's some of these videos and stuff. last week, some of the videos is like, okay, cool,
Right.
they're cool to see, is but there's no contents. There's no like, hey, how many people were there? Is there,
Right.
you know, and it's like, we do have to, debunk some of this stuff, and and hey, if it's real, it's real. If it's not, it's not. Okay, people can't get mad because hey, sometimes people have situations, have it happen, and it was real, and it was, and like you said, more of um, in the moment and how they're talking and everything. But and their situation, like how I said, how they felt, and the other little variables and stuff. I think like you said, are very important. You know, especially if you're hearing noises, and that's like I say is like the original Ghost Hunters. Like the first season stuff. They're really doing. I think they did a really good job. Like, hey, they showed everything. They showed, hey, we collected this noise or this sound, and then they turned around and debunked it. Like, oh, that was just the
Yeah.
air conditioner vent. And of course, as the show went along, and the rest of the show, it changes over time, and they had to do make sure added to it. And they make sure to be more pizzazz and stuff like that. For because the
Yeah.
production, and you know that's why Ghost Adventures. I think they just started right off, and then we're like just hammering all the crazy stuff and let it rip. But I do like the original Ghost Hunters because they were trying to figure out, okay, if this is real, all right. If it's something else, like, hey, look, I love at the end that they go, okay, this is, we didn't find anything. They would
Right.
talk about, look, we didn't find anything. This right here, it's like not that it's not here, but when we went through, and that's a real world situation right there.
Yes.
Because there's paranormal activity at a place does not mean, you're going to show up and go, but and there's, and Slimer and Casper's run around in circles around your head. You're not going to
Right.
see that every time. Sometimes you can go and not hear or sense or anything, and then other times you can go and it's the wildest night of your life. But
Yeah. And just like we heard this last week with David. People, a lot of times investigators, they'll go to the same place several times just to make sure or to see what's going on, if there is anything going on or not. And they may have that first few times where nothing or next to nothing happens, and then they'll finally get, you know, they'll start building up a possible connection or possible connections with whoever might be there, and sort of earning their trust in a way as well. I think I'm not putting words into David's mouth there as far as what he experienced, but it seemed like that's what was happening with some of his investigations, and I'm sure it happens with others as well. If you go to a place enough, but also not expecting anything, not being, being respectful and compassionate and all that, and with the idea of, okay, well, maybe something will happen tonight, maybe it won't, but then you may still eventually doing that find some things. And there are teams that go to places over and over and over again to do that, to you know for all kinds of reasons, at a personal level, but also just as a way to find evidence, but and help whoever's there, um, as well as they can.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it's one of them things where, like a scientist and stuff. What they do, they keep doing the same thing over and over again, and seeing that they can get the same results. And so, I think that's important. And like, if you're into the field and where you're trying to prove some of these things that are out there, then you have to be able to repeat results. And then, like you said, you can go back to the same place. If you go to the same place and then you talk to the same you know, entity over and over again every time you go, there's possibly something there. It's very, very leading. But if you go one time and there's, you maybe pick up something, and then you go every other time you ever go and there's nothing, and like, well, maybe that first time was just a fluke or whatever. It was.
Yeah.
whatever's there is gone. I mean, it's you never know. It could have attached to somebody else and went home with them. You never know.
That's the thing too, and not even necessarily always attaching, but just I do think in so many cases, especially when it's just I'll find a post online and people will say, "Oh, I lived in this place for years or decades, and I had this one experience here a couple of years ago, and nothing else since then." And but there's this idea from popular culture that activity, that entities have to stay in a place. And I don't think that's always the case. Uh, I think we have no idea how or why other consciousness can move or stay in a place. And I think
Hmm.
that sometimes, literally, when there's one experience had in the location, it's just because someone was passing through, literally passing through the environment. I feel like I've had a couple of examples, at least one example of that in my own place, and where I heard this older couple just talking. Uh, like they were walking through my apartment, but I didn't see them. I didn't hear any footsteps. But I just heard them talking, and I never had that happen again in like almost 20 years of time being here. I've had other things happen, but not that. And it wasn't really scary at all. But they were heading in the direction of a nursing home that's behind my place.
Hmm.
And it's like they, either didn't see that they were in an apartment or they didn't see that I was here in it. Maybe it looked like it was empty to them, or maybe it even didn't even look like an apartment was here. Wherever they're at, maybe it seemed like an open world, or it could be that they just didn't realize that I'd be able to hear them.
Like we said earlier, I mean, it could be a combination of all of it. They really
Yeah,
could. I mean, and not even truly not even knowing, and maybe they didn't even knowing you were there. Truly,
right.
like they just walking along in their own realm or their own part of the multiverse and just do 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 do. Walking
Yep.
along, talking to themselves or whatever, and all of a sudden you picked it up, and just that moment. And then, like I said, if you don't hear it again, like it could be just something passing along, flowing along, some kind of energy just passing through. It's for sure. It's possible.
Yep. So there's popular culture. I think sort of has a lot to do with these. I don't want to say assumptions, but these ideas that things have to be certain ways because someone somewhere thought that that's what made the most sense. Uh, and then it became popular, so it's probably the way it is. But we can't know that for sure.
Hmm. No, there's um, no absolutes, especially in this field, and like Mike Strange says all the time, there's no answers, just questions.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, there's no absolutes. It could be for sure multiple answers to. I don't like we've said tonight again. I don't believe it's a lot of the stuff we see is all just one answer. It's this could be one thing, this could be another, and too many people want to put stuff all in a box. Like you fussed out before. And you know everybody it's all demons. Aliens are
yeah,
demons, and this is demons, and everything's demons, and it's like not everything's a damn demon. But it's the easy thing. It's the easy throw in. Like, oh, that's especially with the very religious people. There, millions and millions of people are religious. So and millions that have thought process of demons and that kind of thing. So that's an easy one. Hey, just throw it. Gets the word demonize the demon. And throw it all in that little box. So all right, everything is aliens, ghosts, everything's over there. And I believe there are some demons? I do believe there are some demons, but I don't think every situation that happens in the damn world is going to be. That's what it is.
yeah. And some of the demons could be some of the aliens. I'm not saying that that's not possible. Uh,
Hmm.
but are all the demons all the aliens or vice versa? I don't think so. I mean, for all we know, some of the angels could be aliens and vice versa. Uh, there's two things I've noticed with all this stuff is that there's so many descriptions of what appears to be the same thing that are given multiple names, and then you have the opposite where there's so many uh, different. Basically, you can have the opposite where it seems like it's all one thing, but it's just given. I'm messing that up, but you get what I mean. It just we have all these labels for things, and the people that sort of have established these, not necessarily really religions themselves or religious belief themselves, because I don't think there's anything wrong with religion as long as it's not hurting anybody, but the organized religions, the organizations that are attached to them, want people to think in certain ways, and you know, I and that they want people to think that their organization has everything right, and all the other religious belief systems and organizations are wrong. And yet, so many of them describe what seem to be similar things. When it comes to angels and demons and aliens and all these other beings out there. I mean, how do you know that a figure of light or a figure of shadow is one thing when that's all you see of them is literally either light or darkness? And people report having different experiences with those figures of light or darkness, where both have people have experiences with both, where they seem to be positive, both the figure of light and or the figure of darkness. And then you have other people that have experiences with figures of light or darkness that they get a negative feeling from them. It's just it's it's all very complicated, and that's why I think we have to focus more so on the experiences and the descriptions, and maybe not worry so much about if things have the same, if we use the same names to describe the same thing or different things. Uh, just focus on the experience first, I think, is the best way to go in all this. Anyway, there's my ramble for now.
Yeah, because I mean, do through different religions and just nations and areas. Like there's absolutely, on all kinds of things. From dragons, to demon like entities, to a little bit of everything. You had the jinn. In the Middle East, you had the jinn running around acting a fool.
Yeah, and they seem similar to fae or fairies, and
And
those
there's
seem
those
similar.
around everywhere. There's
Yeah,
fairies and little people everywhere, every nation, and it's like there's got to be something to it.
yeah,
Which you know truly I think especially with the dragons and stuff like that. Absolute. Some of it was. I wonder if they've actually seen them or they've seen the skeletons later on because we do have skeletons and big bone. Dinosaurs. I think some of that
right.
was. I wonder if they actually seen a live one or they just seen the skeleton and like, oh my god, look at this thing. It had wings. It had all this. This is this is insane. This it must have been and then told stories about it. But you know, I see Don't Dramas made a comment, so we don't have enough information to tell the difference between demons and aliens. Um, yeah, you know, there's no absolutes. We haven't able to go, you know, um, pull out and go, here's a demon, here's an alien. Holding one in each hand and go, here we are. This is the difference. We there's none of that situation going on. We might have it pretty soon with the aliens. Who knows? Especially with all the you know even the mainstream news talking about the four types and all that kind of stuff. It's like I said, there's something coming on that, but something weird, something weird coming on that.
Yeah, yeah. It's the as I always say. if it's coming from the media and the politicians, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna trust it. I'm just not, you know. And if we do get an alien invasion, I'm 99% sure it's not really gonna be aliens. I'm
Yeah.
just, you know, I just highly doubt it. That's not how these encounters have worked throughout time. Uh, Most of the time, it seems like there's when people have experiences, it's a few people at a time at most. Uh, there are rare exceptions, you know, the Phoenix Lights, other cases, but in general, it's one person having an experience at a time, and so it just doesn't track with everything that we've had happen so far. And then there's also the complicating factor of, and this is something I don't know if we've talked about in this show or not yet, but when it comes to the more famous cases, so many of them, the people involved have been led toward the idea of using hypnosis to get more memories of what happened. And over the years, from what I've heard now, there's serious doubt as to whether or not hypnosis is actually capable of retrieving actual memories. It seems like it's better at, in many cases, creating false ones. And so many of the famous cases at one point or another, the people involved that had the experience were led to hypnosis, and to the point now where I'm not even as interested in the famous cases anymore because of that. And so many of those cases, you have people getting involved literally from the government, from the intelligence community, from the military. So that again is a whole other, so you have multiple factors here that even if, people had these experiences, I'm not saying they didn't, but you get these other factors and other things and people involved that make me question whether what to believe from these cases or not.
Yeah, and I think that's maybe part of it. They want to have confusion. They want the chaos. They want to be all hitting us from 14 different ways. That way we won't never know the truth. If they it's up to them.
Right.
It's if it's up to them, then we'll never know the truth of anything. But
Yep. Let's set up these three or four or five different narratives about what aliens actually are, and set up all these people to think that they know what's going on and they have the right narrative, and just put them against each other. Gee,
yeah,
that sounds familiar, doesn't it?
absolutely, absolutely. It's always going to be um, divide and conquer, and divide and distract, and just to see what they can get away with. It is what the Sweets made a comment talking about all the AI data sensors being named after demons right now, and in Silicon Valley is kind of interesting.
Hmm.
Um, Nothing to worry about there.
No, sure, everything's fine. Also, I'm so shocked that they're doing that. Can you tell how shocked I am? I'm really
Just
shocked.
absolutely just petrified with emotion of sur- yeah. I think sometimes they tell us the truth. Sometimes they actually absolutely are just put it out there like, yep, this is what we're doing. We're Saturn worshipers. We're this, we're that, Baal worshipers. They really want to show, hey, look, this is what we're doing. You know, as much as they can without like a big uproar. If they can put it out, they try to turn it up the knob as hard as they can to, but not too much to make everybody question it. Just enough. If a conspiracy theorist question it, hey, no big deal. And that's all we got to do is just name them conspiracy theorists, and it'll distract you. Except for like right now, it's most conspiracy theories are batting 1,000 right now.
And meanwhile, the phenomenon is still happening, and you have non-physical entities that can manipulate technology, and then you get these AIs that all of a sudden just start saying wild things, and no one knows why or how. And it makes me wonder, how often our spirits or other consciousness, other beings, uh, just jumping into that technology and having some fun with people, you know, uh,
Hmm.
putting out whatever they feel like saying at the time, and then jumping out at some point, and then I mean, because again, I could give you, I could probably do a search and find you at least a good 5, 10 accounts of phones and TVs and computers just acting up all of a sudden, and either just acting up in weird ways and being creepy, or putting across messages from deceased loved ones where they're trying to get through to people. And so I mean, if there's, it's not that I'm saying, and obviously it's not that I'm saying that there's not anomalous things happening at all. I've had too many things happen, uh, but also there's people that are just out there trying to frame how and why those things happen, when really I don't think we anyone can really know for 100% for sure what's going on, because there's too many things. I don't think it is one big uh, one entity controlling all things when it comes to ghosts and aliens and cryptids. And I've heard that over the years, and I mean I could be wrong on that, but there's just too many reports that are too varied, uh, and to for me to think that it's all one consciousness behind everything.
Oh yeah, it's a multi. Everything is an onion. How I was saying last night, everything's an onion. Getting multi layers, and we can't put it all in that one spot. We can't put it all in that box. And if anybody is, trying to put everything, you know, not that they're wrong per se, but question. We question everybody. We question us too.
Oh yeah,
Do your own research.
and I can tell you, and the more you research, the more you'll be like, I don't know what the heck is going on here. You know,
The
uh,
hole gets deep.
it does.
The
It
absolute
does.
Grand Canyon of insanity of how far things get, and even
Well,
deeper. It you'll go down a rabbit hole and then it'll turn into the Grand Canyon and then it turn into the Mariana Trench. It's just endless. Um,
yep,
because of all the crazy stuff, everything, and it seems like everything's tied to everything, and some of it is. Like, well, that
yeah.
can't be. Well, it can be. When you have money and power and people who like to keep it, we're going to manipulate whatever situation they have to, and we got to use
Some of those,
demons or
yeah,
ghosts or aliens or anything else.
some of those rabbit holes you go down, there'll be tunnels, and they'll lead you right back to that Grand Canyon again.
Hmm. Then you'd be like, and then you have 37 tabs open on your computer, and you go, I got to go to bed. Not that I'm speaking from experience or anything. No,
No,
but
I highly doubt that. That can't be.
mm-mm, mm-mm. I had to get up at work, go to work at, they get up at 5 and it's 4 in the morning. I'm like, uh, eyes bloodshot. Well, you been out drinking? No, I was on the computer all night looking at stuff. Don't ask me what you don't want to know.
Yeah. Well, I was talking with Mike about that over on Troubled Minds on Thursday night on his show. You know, what do I do when I'm not on shows or preparing for shows or doing other things? I'm listening to shows. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm listening to TV shows. You know, on all these subjects, and I fall asleep to these shows.
Hmm.
It's most of my day every day, and would I probably sleep better if I listened to less of that? Yeah, maybe, but I can't help it. At this point, it's too late.
Hmm. No, no doubt. It seems that way. It is like, oops. I've been going around like other shows and watching other shows and or trying to be part of other shows or
Yeah,
even if I'm just watching, I'm like, yeah, let me just email them. If I can get the fun, excuse me, if I can find the email, then I'm gonna go, hey, would you like to come on my show? I know you have 200,000 followers on Facebook. I don't care. Come on my show too.
yeah,
All they
yep.
can do is say no or ignore it and go on my way. So I like it is what it is. I mean, I ain't worried about it now. No reason to get upset or whatever. Like, but the big thing is, you never know until you ask.
Oh
Because
yeah,
closed mouths don't get fed, as they say.
yeah. I have someone that said they'd be able to make it onto my show at some point in May, and haven't heard back from them. And I don't think they're ignoring me. I think they're just busy. And it's a big. It would be a big get if I got them. So I'm gonna still keep on emailing them once a month. But hey, until they tell me to stop or they decide to come on, then you know, I figure I might as well keep on going with that because why not?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean it happens. I mean, we were talking about like having Derek on in 2 weeks or a week from Wednesday, whatever. Like, I've been working on getting Derek on this whole year. I think.
And it's so hard with him because he does work 5 nights a week, and it's like he doesn't have like a traditional weekend off like a lot of people have. So
Hmm.
he has a night off and then uh, a night of work and then the night off and then 4 more nights of work. So because I
Yeah.
know because I used to have him on my show here and there, and it was always tricky.
No, yeah. I've had that schedule a bunch of times. When I worked in the grocery business, that's what I had. Like, I know at one point I had Sundays. What was it? Sundays and Wednesdays, I think was my days off. And so, which it was kind of nice. So I got one weekend day, I guess, and then I got one day in the week and I worked nights. So then I had one day during the week so I could actually take care of stuff. Like if I needed to schedule a
Right.
doctor appointment or renew my license or any kind of thing, I could schedule in that day. But yeah, it's hard when you got a split schedule. It really is. Like right now, 4 days a week, and with the gym, and then if we're doing something else, it adds up. If I'm going out of town or whatever, I leave. So I kind of got a weird little schedule myself. So I understand. I don't. I
Yeah.
don't. Um, I don't knock them for it. It is hard
No.
sometimes. So and I got a couple other guests that we're working on scheduling and stuff like that, and you know, it's just working out details. It is what it is.
Well, it's funny because I don't even have a job, and I realized about a month ago, month and a half ago, wow, with everything that I do, I don't have any days off in the week or the weekend. Because I love to be around and like you do. But I do that with I do my own shows and I co-host with over on Trouble Minds whenever I'm able to. And it's like at that point you know I was literally doing a show every night, 7 nights a week, for either on my own or with someone else. And I literally had to rearrange things so I would at least have one day a week off because I was getting burnt out. Like I was
Mm.
gonna, you know, it was not going well, and so. Yeah.
And it's easy to do because I mean, there's so many like right now, like you've done the same thing I have. We've gained relationships and friendship with so many people when they got their own shows. Like, hey, come on my show,
Yeah.
and it's like I like to. I'm getting stretched out in like 14 different directions. I'm like, I like to. I got this going on. That I always just say I try. I can't
Yeah.
promise. I'll do my best. Unless we like schedule something like, hey, I'm gonna be there, blah blah blah. But you
Right.
know, and like just random, like, hey, you just want to pop in sometime. Like, well, I'll do the best I can. Cause it's hard. It's hard to so many amazing shows on this stuff. So many amazing people, and it's hard to be able to show love and show up on all of them. You
Yeah.
know, and interact. We can't all be sweets. We can't all be
No,
sweet. No,
there can only
only
be one
sweet can be
sweets.
sweet.
Yeah. But no, that's like I know I've been invited to like just join whenever I can on a Friday on Golden Size channel, and but it's Friday and it's like so far it hasn't worked out yet. I haven't had the energy on a Friday night yet to
Yeah.
go and hang out over there. Just one, I'm sure. Well, one of these days, but uh,
Hmm.
not yet.
Yeah, they usually have a good conversation over there, and we go, who knows where it's going to go, kind of thing. And then some
Yeah.
cool people pop in, and then some of the same, like the people pop in over there. The same one pops over, like on indie show,
Hmm.
and it's in so much people overlap to overlap. It's hard to even keep up. Like, oh, I know them from this many shows, or
Right.
um, it's wild, to see now. Like, after be doing it for a long time. I know you've been doing it longer than I have. Um, I'm doing it over 3 years now.
Almost six
Creeping,
for me.
I guess, creeping on 4. I guess,
Yep.
creeping, slowly but surely. Keep on
And
keeping on. It'll be,
it'll be
yeah, it
six
won't be
this
long.
Halloween for
Yeah,
me. Yep. But no, it's fun. I mean, because the only way we're ever going to, I think, possibly figure anything out or get any information or get new information is doing that, listening to all these other shows and talking with all these other people and getting as much information as we can hold in our mind at any one time, and
hmm
you know, and go from there.
yeah. It's it's always fun. People are like, have you heard of this? Yeah. Have you heard of this? Yeah. Heard of that? Yeah. I'm like, holy hell! Like, yeah. And then they pop up in something you never heard of, and it's pretty
Yeah,
cool. It's
and they're
like, oh,
shocked
yeah. I'm
because
like,
you
oh,
haven't heard of it.
yeah, no, I haven't heard about that. So yeah, it's always fun, and getting just different points of view and different skews on things. Even in the paranormal field, we're looking at different points of views. Like we've had ghost hunters on the show, and people's done documentaries on the paranormal and stuff like that. Um, and then so it's cool to get their point of view, and like David Glidden's done conferences and been up in front and spoke at conferences and stuff. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
um, Jess, escaped assimilation. She's done the same thing. It's kind of
right.
cool to get all these different people and get that different point of view and different skew on things, and it helps you open up. Keeps you from staying inside this little box. Like, okay, I didn't see it that point of view that way. I never
Yeah,
would have seen it that way if I hadn't heard somebody else say it. I'm like, okay, it makes sense. So it's good if you're able to get out and listen to other stuff and listen to other people, and it's and it's the big thing is it's just like in anything in the world. It's like where you feel comfortable listening to or doing. For like me, for like the gyms, it's like what I tell people come. Hey, what should I do? If I want to join a gym, like find a gym that you feel comfortable in, and that's
yeah,
just your, you know, it clicks. I mean, and it sounds funny. It's like but that's really what has to happen. And it's the same with stuff like this. We have an amazing chat and we have amazing audience, and they keep coming back because this is the you know, they mesh with our vibe and they mesh with our, you know, the thing we got going on. And so, it's what if you're looking for stuff like that on anything, I believe in life, you got to turn around and find what fits you know your vibe and what for sure. It's kind of reaches out to you and says hi, like, hey, come over here.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked to several different, I mean, three different shows of different paranormal investigators, and they all, they're definitely all not the same,
Mm-hmm.
and they all have different ways and ways of doing things and views on things, and uh, and so that's been a lot of fun listening to all those different people.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get some more on. I've been reaching out to several other shows. I got some more. Like I said, I got some more guests that's reached out. And I'm working on trying to tie people down. I've had people reach out to me, and then I reach back out, and then it kind of, I don't know what happens sometimes. I think some of it's just people like reaching out to everybody. Like I think they blanket it.
Right.
Whoever reaches back out to them, like, oh, okay, cool, and then they really don't. But like so far in the years that I've been doing this now, it's crazy to think I can say that like that I've been doing it years. But I've had you know politicians on here from California um, to ghost hunters now to anything and everything in between. And it's pretty amazing to be able to reach out and talk to so many different people and so many different points of view, the different points of the world.
Yeah. Yeah. I just being, I don't know. It definitely you have to sort of try to be out there as much as you can, but also like y- you're never gonna be able to be everywhere, or listen to all the shows, and you have to find the shows that work well for you to listen to and be
Hmm.
part of more than other shows. And there's shows I'd love to be on more, but there's just scheduling is just so hard. I've been
Hmm.
on Where Did the Road Go a couple of times, and those are fun, but it's they're so busy. The Soraya, the host of that show, is so busy, and I'm so busy, and so it's funny when I finally got him on my show. I had just had teeth removed that day, and he messaged me, "Can we do this one night?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess. So we can try." And
Let
you
her
know,
rip.
yeah, and it worked out okay. I was not feeling great the next day. I think I probably shouldn't have been talking that night yet, but I made it through, and it was a lot of fun.
Hmm. And and I think it's very important. Like anybody that's like, especially in the paranormal or any of these rabbit hole chasing thought processes uh, I think is a very important. Why we do like on Talking with Conspiracy, we show cat videos at the end. I think
Yeah,
that me personally, my point of view is I think it's very important. Every once in a while, you got to step back and pull away. Like, oh, cut it off. And like, all right,
yeah,
I'm not worried about none of this. I'm not worried about I'm not worried about Iran. I'm not worried about Israel. I'm not worried about ghosts. I'm not worried about goblins. I ain't worried about nothing. I'm gonna go to the
yeah,
lake, or I'm gonna tinker over here, or I'm gonna just whatever you gotta do to separate yourself from this. And then because like you were saying, James, you were getting burned out before, and I know, and it's easy to do. You find something you really like to do, and then you just keep going and on and on and on, and then like eventually, I've known so many people do that. They find something and then they go 150 miles an hour. Fast forward, like from jujitsu or MMA and everything, and then they hit that wall, and it's like boom. And then some people bounce back, and then they can go, okay, let me slow down. Or some people just they hit the wall and they stop and they won't do it no more. Like I can't do it
yeah.
anymore. And it's
I have a,
sad. Like if you could balance out a little bit, and then
yeah,
disconnect from time to time, it'll. I think my personal opinion, my little 2 cents of the day, it make make things. You'll be able to do it a lot longer, across the board. Whatever you enjoy, anything you enjoy to do.
Yeah, I had a bad habit for a while of trying to do as many shows as I could every week. You know, like recording 6, 7 days a week uh, for my show, or at least try to put out 6 or 7 episodes per week for a while there. And I did that a few times and burnt out a few times on that. And so I'm very much aware now. It's like, and people that listen to my show will know that my schedule has changed so many times. It's so annoying. But and eventually I did. I got to the point where now it's like I can tell when the burnout is starting to happen. Like I've had it happen so enough where I'm like, oh, I recognize this feeling. Time to back off a bit. And but no, I have friends that do their own streams on Twitch that are just video game streams that I'm a moderator for them on their channels, and I've stuck around and I still hang out in their streams because it is something different from all the paranormal stuff I do,
Mm-hmm.
and it's there is always a part of my mind being like, what do you should be listening to something for your show. You should be listening to podcast or documentary, and it's like, no, I do that already so much. No, I can't do that 24/7. But I think I think in my case, and this may not be the case for everyone, but my family, I've always looked up to, the majority of the people in my family that because they are very much, they work hard. They've always worked hard, and so like I've always had it in my mind that even if I don't have a regular job, I should be doing that too, and even if I don't feel like I can, and that doesn't work out because I've crashed, but doing that before. I've had to take
Mm-hmm.
whole weeks off because to recover, and so yeah, there has to be a balance in all these things, and but then in doing that and finding that balance and not doing as many shows, if I was still doing as many shows as I was at one point, I wouldn't be able to do this with you guys on Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
So and this has been amazing.
So there's, reasons for stuff to happen, I guess.
Seems that way.
In the long run, kind of thing. And like I said, if you're still going, 100 miles an hour, would you had already burn out and stop completely? I mean,
Right.
there's that
That'd be
possibility
sad.
there. Yeah, that would be terrible.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's one of the things for sure. I see Matt Sal left a comment say he'd like to be on the show. I would love to have Matt Sal,
Yes.
especially on a Sunday night show. Would be awesome and whenever though. But be great. Have some of his insight and stuff like that. So it'd
Yep.
be a fun one. So I'm gonna reach out to him. I'll get with him.
He's been on a couple of my shows over the years too. Those
Hmm.
have always been great.
So yeah, it'd be fun. I mean, like I said, I'm looking for anybody and just different points of view and different stuff. And um, nice kind of call. Thank you for gifting that subscription, LJ. Appreciate you. So yeah, it's one of them things. We had to just keep enjoying ourselves, and keep our the passion and the love.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. Recently I had a little setback in starting my like discussion group I wanted to start here in my hometown because at the moment I decided I wanted to try to start it. The library I wanted to do that at, they went under reconstruction renovation. So I'm going to have to, if I want to do this year at all, I'm going to have to go with the smaller library. Funny enough, the library that is has a haunted basement in it uh, to do the meetings at. Once I'm able to get the energy to get all this going, and but I'm not going to wait till next year. That's just too long.
Hmm.
And and
That'd be cool. That'd
yeah,
be cool haunted basement to go check out.
hopefully. I mean, it's not really part of the main library anymore. Like they use it for storage for a lot of things. But maybe if we get to if there's one or two employees in the library that are hopefully interested in these things, we can work something out. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Like I said, be able to, you know, do that kind of thing, and the big thing is just it's one of them just chasing your dreams, and life's too short not to chase some of your dreams. Even if
Yeah.
they're small ones, big ones, or whatever. It's hell do it. Um, a friend of mine was joking with me a while back, and he was like, he's like, you're trying to do all kinds of side quests, aren't you, Ricky? I'm like, I'm just trying to, whatever happens, then um, whatever happens. We,
Yeah.
commentating on MMA shows now, and doing this, and um, I did stand up comedy one sort of. I don't even know if I want to call that stand up comedy that night. It was terrible, whatever it was, but you know,
Feels
just
like my show
whatever
last
random
night.
stuff I can
I
do on the side. Like, hey, let me try this. As I get older, I'm not as scared to try and swing for the fences a little harder. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's like At first, I wasn't sure if I wanted to start a in-person group because you never know who you're gonna find, and it's different when you're in person versus when you're just online. You can close the tab or whatever. But
Hmm.
I want to get to know this area more in that paranormal sense and get to find other people that are interested in these things too out here. And I was just thinking if I have to cut down on the number of shows I do each week for my own show, that's fine. If I can get that group started here, that'll be worth it.
Hmm. Absolutely. I mean, if you had to cut down, I would imagine, if you had to cut back to, push come to shove once a week, and then once you figured out your flow, then you could add more, add back to your plate, kind of thing.
Yeah,
I imagine you might have to do that, but it be fun, get to, like I said, get to meet some of the local people, and hear the local stories and stuff, and that's always, interests me. Like that's what I said. I like
yes,
to go on the ground, going to, when I travel for fights, I go to antique stores, and I go around, and I travel around the city and check it out. I'm like, okay, let me check out some of this. I always like the downtown area or the older area. I always go to that kind of area. I'm not trying to go to the newer spot. I want to see the old stuff. I want to see,
right.
and just feel the vibe of the city or the town or whatever I'm at. It's it's good to and get to interact with people and interacting, talking with people. I enjoy it. I know some introverts probably were like, and run and scare. You can't do that.
Yeah,
No talking to people. Hey, sometimes it's hard,
it
and
is.
sometimes it takes a lot of energy. Like
Oh yeah.
I know me personally, I can do it. And it's like but like afterwards, I'm like, I'm drained, whatever. But
Oh, I get that with my own family. I love them, but family gatherings like the rest of that day, I don't want to do anything else. Once I get home, I'm done.
just nap time, yay, nap
Yeah.
time.
Yep. Did that a couple weekends ago when I was out on a Saturday night with family, and we went to a restaurant, so there was people all around and everything, and it was all kinds of noise. And I got back actually. If I had wanted to, I could have done a show that night. But I knew already before that, even go. I was like, no, when I get back home, I'm gonna be tired, and so I just didn't do a show. And I did. I took a nap that evening, that night when I got home.
Nice, nice. I see Mr. Strange is going to have a show tonight, so we'll be teleporting Brumble
Nice.
over to Trouble Minds in a little while. So y'all don't go nowhere. Even when we start hitting the end, y'all just hang out and get teleported because it's going to be. I imagine it's going to be a great show. Looks like it's going to be. Where's it at? I pulled it up. Dreams from the Dusk when the border begins to answer is the
Okay.
title. So,
Yeah. Always enjoy that show,
oh yeah, always going to be a good one.
even when I'm
Interesting
on it.
topics. Interesting. There it is. That's what I was waiting on there. Um, I refreshed what well, I refreshed the browser for it right there on top of my eyes over and over again. Like, all right, when's he gonna pop up? When's he gonna pop up? 'Cause he does everything
Yeah.
last minute. Like I'm like, man, I'd be out
Oh,
of my
he's
mind.
amazing at that.
He
And
does everything last minute. Like everything's last
yeah.
second. Like within 5 minutes of him going to show, like the upcoming pops up. I got to do mine like an hour or two, ahead. I got you,
Yeah.
LJ. Yeah, it was fun last night. I was fun. I had fun on that show last night. Talking. Um, we talked aliens and everything else in between. Really, like I said, it was about 5 hours of talking last night. Well, I didn't try to do that. It happened because
Well, we
I
didn't.
stayed on to the end. Like
Yeah.
I think it hadn't been on very long. I seen Sweets share share it, and I was like, well, hell, let me click on there and check it out. And then I seen a few people I knew, and I was like, was it an open panel? I'm like, yeah. I was like, oh, all right, hell, here we go. Let me get my camera, let me get my lights on,
So I
and
have a conspiracy here,
oh,
theory
yeah, conspiracy.
that Sweets is more than just a regular human because she posts links to so many shows, and I just wonder how does she listen to all those shows? How is she aware of all those shows? It's just like all throughout the day and throughout the evening. It's amazing to me. And it's
Yeah,
like mostly shows I don't even know. I don't even have time to get to listen to them. And so anyway,
yeah,
just a possibility there.
yeah. It's fun. I mean, I don't know. I've done it a few times. I'll have multiple tabs and multiple shows going, and just bring the volume down a little bit, and it matters how ADD I am that day. I've had a few days where I have like two shows going at the same time, and I'm working on my own stuff. Actually, some days I'll be messing around and I'll be playing a little game. I like a building world building game. I'll play that at the same time while watching two damn shows, and then try to be working on my own show, like work on stuff in the background, like edit or
Your,
something at
your
the
poor
same time.
devices.
Yeah, like oh yeah, that's why I had to get a new computer. Like yeah, yeah. Every once in a while, I push it to the limit. Like, what are you doing? I'm made to do one or the other, not
uh,
full stream, two YouTube shows,
your internet
a
provider is
Rumble
like, what the
show,
heck is this person up to here?
yeah, a
Why? Who
Rumble
do they think we
show,
are?
and editing at the same time, which always takes a lot of mass. Yeah,
Uh, it's funny.
yes,
There was
yeah.
a time back when I was reading books in Braille a lot more, uh, where I was able to listen to an audiobooks while reading books in Braille, and that was it was fun, but it was challenging.
Oh, I bet.
So, but that's about as far into multitasking as I can get, like two things at once.
Some days I'm like, I'm insane. Like I push my limits of my brain capacity to my limit because I'll have like and other than I have my big screen, my big TV on. Like on the far wall, I got a 75-inch TV, so I got it playing something else going on. I like trouble my like ancient aliens or something, whatever on YouTube. It's just whatever pops up, it pops up. It's playing in the background, plus my two screens with shit going on and multiple tabs up, and just got just keep on giving her hell. Yeah, thanks to LJ. He dropped a link for Saturday nights. I guess that's the last one. Saturday Night Anarchy show. It was fun. It had a bunch of people in there and some characters. I'd say,
Ah, I see.
especially
I
one for
usually
sure.
do my own shows on Saturdays, so I'm kind of occupied. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And I've had like I know Peanut. I see him on a bunch of other shows, and he's like, "Man, you need to come to my show, Ricky." I was like, "I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try." Like I said, I just happened to see that one and clicked on it for a little bit. And a lot of times I see links, I try to click on it and and give people a like. They don't even know. I just click on their show and like it, give them a like, and
Right.
listen for a little bit, and then I click off and go on my way and just try to help people out. Just
Oh yeah.
help bring the community up, whatever, for a second. But I, last night I stuck around and was there for a while. Let's see, I was there from almost the entire damn show, I think.
Well, as long as you don't break our record, no 6 hour shows, Ricky. No, I'm
They said
kidding.
they have 6, 7 hour shows on that channel. They didn't that night. And I don't think I could have handled that, but I was getting a
Yeah,
little
we,
sleepy.
we we barely handled the 5.5.
Yeah,
I'm
but
sure if you listen back to that, you could tell in our voices as we're getting close and
I
tied it
forget
up.
who it was in the chat. They're like, "We're here." Like, all right, it's time to cut off. We're not making a record. We're not doing a record, Ricky. I remember somebody commented that, and they're like, basically, like, we're here to you the end, but come on, let's make it the end. Basically, which I understand. But um, go ahead, I guess. 'Cause it won't be long.
Yeah.
Won't be long, James. Do you want to do any shout outs and stuff for everybody? And for the ones that don't know who the the leading expert in the paranormal world is, let everybody know.
Well, yeah, I do a little show. I say that now because it's kind of funny. Only 1,036 episodes as of today. A little show called Salsido Paranormal, and where I cover people's experiences and read the books of Charles Fort, the nonfiction books of Charles Fort. Talk about haunted places, and that's you can find all that and links to support the show and listen, and links to friends of the show over at my website, which is salsidoparanormal.com, and that's SALSIDO paranormal.com. You can also find in every episode description there a link to my Discord server, which is the only place where I stream my recordings as I make them. So I am legally blind, so doing all the multi-platform streaming and video, and that's a little much. So I just do audio on Discord. And yeah, and you can find me here on Sundays, and so far every Sunday for a while, and over on Trouble Minds Radio as well. I usually co-host over there too. So, and yeah, thank you, Ricky, for having me on as always.
Yeah, yeah. 24 in a row, 24 weeks straight. We've been doing this, so no, no, looking like taking up, stopping or not. Because I'm, like I said, I'm having fun and steadily adding. Um, it's been fun, like I said, especially with these ghost hunters and stuff like that. Getting some of
Oh
them to
yeah,
come on and tell like that kind of story, and um, it's been fun for sure. And everybody, make sure if you're not, I know everybody in the chat is, but if you're not, if you're lurking in the background, make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Wednesday is going to be a huge show. It's going to be a lot of fun.
yes,
We'll
have
be
fun.
talking about. We're going to talk about everything in the world. I'm sure we'll talk about the politics. I got a bunch of videos and stuff. I got stuff saved just in case I got to back up and punt or whatever. Just not as many people show up as I think are going to show up. But it is what it is. I appreciate everybody. I know people got lives and everything. So I know I've had a few people going to try to pop in for a second and then pop back out. Kind of like Ray did today for us. Popped in today
Yes,
for a little bit and then popped back
that was
out. But
nice.
so we're gonna have a lot of people doing that Wednesday. It's the 100th episode of Talking with Conspiracy. Done 100 of these damn things. It's crazy to think about that. That I never thought about going live, and then Mike Strange, I just seen it on Discord pop up. Be right back, rebooting. He's having technical issues. If you don't have a technical issues in your stream, you're gonna have problems. But so um, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I got some first time guests coming on there that's never been on the show, but some of them are going to be there. Is going to be like some of the people that helped me get started,
Hmm.
and so I think y'all going to enjoy, you know, and been in some of the fields for a very long, long time. Lots of shows. It's gonna y'all going. I believe y'all really going to enjoy it. The show could go anywhere. and it's absolutely going to be. I think it's going to be a blast. It really is. Just have the whole different people and personalities and popping up, and it could have up to. I can hold 10 people at one time with Riverside, so we could have 10 people up here at one time, chatting and going back and forth. So yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I appreciate y'all. Matt Sal, I'm gonna reach out to. I need to make sure I don't forget. I need to text you because yeah, I'd love to have you, especially on a Sunday. Because you won't upset James and talk politics. So, uh, so, and if somebody would, might be interested in coming on Wednesday during the crazy stuff, holler at me. The email is correct in the description. I'm pretty sure. I know it is. I fixed that issue. I think. But so um, let me see. I know like I said, trying to drag a little bit, y'all. I'm sorry. We trying to give Mike a little more time so I can send it to y'all while he's going. But like I said, thank you for all the wonderful chat. Appreciate y'all always being in here. I see Jen showed up. Appreciate her and so many others, man. Y'all amaze me. Y'all really do. Steadily coming back and listen to me talk and listen to James talk. And
You can hear Jen on my show too on Saturdays most times, so
yeah,
highly
we're gonna
recommend
have to
that.
get Jen back on here.
Yes.
I know last time we had some some issues. It happens. So we're gonna get Jen come back for sure on a show. Like I said, I got some cool guests. I got a super big guest. If we can get everything, if the stars will align, I got a huge monster guest for sure coming.
Yep.
Y'all will really be. I think y'all be blown away that I even able to even get this guest. But like I said, I appreciate y'all. We're gonna. I guess I'm gonna send y'all that way. He'll get going in just a second. But let's hit the outro, and we'll get. Then I'll send the raid, the Trouble Minds on the Rumble. Sweets has dropped a link for the YouTube, so y'all check that out. It's going to be a great conversation. You never know; you might get to hear me again. I might pop in there. I don't know. I know you'll get to hear James, but
Oh
you
yeah,
might
I'll be
you
there.
might get to hear me if it. You never know. I literally sit there and lurk and edit videos in the background, but we'll see. Anything is possible. See if we can get this, figure this out, figure out this update. I didn't do my. Here we go.
Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. I sat down with Big Brother. Don't like those RFIDs. Got the blues about my freedom. Got the blues about tyranny. I got the blues about my freedom. Got the blues about tyranny. I sat down with Big Brother and the national ID. Don't want a chip in my wallet, chip in my car. And if I want to travel, it's nobody's business how far. Don't want no shackles, don't want no shackles on me. I said shame on Big Brother, always tracking and tracing me. Don't want a chip in my mother, chip in my wife, a chip in my babies. Stay out of our life. Don't want no shackles, don't want no shackles on me. I say down with Big Brother, no more slavery. Play it for me, baby. Now, do you want a chip in your forehead, a chip in your arm, always tweaking your brain and causing you harm? Don't want no shackles, don't want no shackles on me. I sit down with Big Brother in the good old USA. I sat down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother. Don't want a spy chip in me. Everybody, I sat down with Big